Hello, everyone. This is Lenard Guzman with Emily Robinson here on the Life After D podcast. It is November 16th, 2020. We are in the midst. This year is kind of like we've been in this whole thing with the pandemic.
I know.
There's word of a
Craziness.
vaccine coming along.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. Life After D podcast. We're kind of got off track here. Is a podcast about divorce, life after divorce, life during divorce. We're kind of approaching the holiday season. It was kind of weird. I know we're here in California. The governor Newsom was saying something about a 3-person limit for like family gatherings. How does this affect divorce, Emily? Like child custody, I assume, is affected.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of fighting about the holidays and one parent saying, I'm not comfortable with you taking our child there. You're going to have too many people. And the other parent saying it's fine. Everyone's been tested. There's just people have varying degrees of comfort. I mean, my husband and I don't agree necessarily on, I think he's more cautious than I am. So it causes a lot of disputes if you're separated because you can't necessarily control the other person's custodial time, but you might not be comfortable with the choices they're making. So we've definitely seen disputes about that.
Yeah, I have a neighbor, and they have one child who goes back and forth on the weekends, and it's weird because she doesn't want her child to play with the other children because they're like, hey, she doesn't know where she's exposed, and then these children over here, it's kind of you're playing it safe. Other parents, I assume, trust each other, and that's kind of awkward.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough if you don't trust each other or think that the other person's making good choices.
Okay, so let's move into the divorce news. There's always somebody in the news. What we do here on the show is we go over Google News and see what's going on in divorce. A lot of times we like to talk about celebrity divorces, celebrity court proceedings. So today, let's see. All right, so I'm a big fantasy football guy. It's football season. I don't know if you, Emily, I think you're into hockey, NHL.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know who this is going to be. I do. So according to TMZ, Earl Thomas files for divorce 7 months after a wild arrest. So Earl Thomas, so he plays for, I think, Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if he's on the team yet or still. So Earl Thomas's wife is clearly done trying to make things work with the NFL star after the two were involved in that wild April incident. Cut off for me. Okay. TMZ Sports has learned she just filed for divorce. According to court records, Nina Thomas put in the paperwork on November 3rd, citing adultery as the grounds for ending the marriage. Nina added in the docs that the couple had such a strained relationship, there's zero reasonable expectations of reconciliation. It's interesting because Earl has seemed to put let's see. Give me a sec here. Okay. It's interesting because Earl has seemed to put in a ton of effort to make things work since Nina was arrested for allegedly pointing a loaded gun at him back in April 13th. We broke the story. Cops say Nina snapped after she allegedly caught the former Baltimore Ravens safety cheating on her at a rented home in Austin, Texas. Police say Nina busted in the home angrily and eventually held Earl at gunpoint. Nina was ultimately arrested, but shortly after the incident, Earl announced the two were trying to make things work, and it seemed to be going smoothly. He posted on social media several times in the past few months praising her and even celebrated her birthday last month with a photo and wish I love you note. But Nina, who married Earl in a well-publicized, extravagant wedding in April 2016, makes it clear in the docs she wants out.
Mm. Well, yeah. I mean, you can't always recover from the things that get published in the news. And, I think people assume, oh, well, she's leaving him. These things must be true. I mean, they could be. And especially if somebody is arrested or convicted, there's more likelihood it's true. But also sometimes like just the media attention can tear apart your family, whether it's true or not, and it can lead to ruining a relationship. So it's hard to have a relationship when you're famous and people want to talk about you and know who you are and you're in the spotlight, because nobody's perfect, but most of us don't have our, transgressions highlighted in the news every day. So yeah, it's hard to recover from something like that.
I think in 2020, it's like the worst time to be a celebrity. Like they can track you, like they know where everybody lives on because of Google Maps. They could there's TMZ. I'm pretty sure these paparazzi, these photographers, they get paid, right? They're motivated to get paid to track people down. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd want to be a celebrity right now. Okay, on to the next article. Julianne Hough flaunts flawless looking, calling for kindness following divorce. So I stopped watching Dancing with the Stars a few seasons ago, but okay. So the former Dancing with the Stars took to Instagram to remind her millions of followers that this year, kindness spread around in our communities more than ever before, and she's hoping to start it now. In the post, Julianne shared a stunning selfie where she looks drop dead gorgeous and is hiking in some beautiful place. So I guess it was World Kindness Day, and Huff is asking that everyone join in the help, regardless of what is going in your personal life. Let's see what else. Yeah, so she says she's had a few rough months, but is asking that everyone spread kindness following her filing her divorce.
She hasn't been married that long, I don't think. But she's talented. I like her. Yeah.
Did you vote? Would you vote for her? I think people call and they vote, even though it's weird because we can't call to vote for president, but Dancing with the Stars, I guess, is more secure or less secure. I don't know.
I know, right? Well, it's a less important decision, I guess. But yeah, no, I'd vote for her. She did this awesome Disney at home, all these specials that she was awesome in, and my kids loved it. But yeah, no, I mean, she seems like a very nice person. Obviously, I don't know her in real life, but I think that's a good message to send, asking for kindness and especially at a time like this when we need to spread more kindness and less hate and anger, like what is going around. And I think it's really respectful when people aren't trashing each other in the news and instead are, asking for privacy and kindness. It takes a big person to do that because it's really easy to be like, feel bad for me, look at what this person did to me kind of thing.
All right, next article. I follow this Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because, my wife is she's into it. So I'm like, whatever, okay, fine. We'll take turns. I'll watch Star Wars and she'll sit through it, and then I gotta sit through this. So one of these, I guess you would call him a reality star, Erika Jane. So I didn't know that. I guess she got a divorce. So Erika Jane is taking her claim and sharing her first selfie as a single lady. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star made her triumphant return to social media by posting her very first post-divorce filing, taking to her Instagram on Thursday, November 12th. The blonde bombshell gave her followers the first Erika 2.0, looking powerful and declaring herself undefeated. Erika Jane left her fans begging for more and applauding the singer for putting her needs first. Let's see what else. Trying to get her ex, because her ex-husband, okay, Tom Girardi, that's okay. Erika Girardi couldn't help but write back despite her soon-to-be ex-husband Tom Girardi's money woes. I'm gonna have to do a deep dive. So I'm curious about this because the Tom Girardi was the Aaron Brockovich attorney. That was interesting because I watched that movie. That was kind of cool. So, and he's a lot older than her, maybe let's say 40 years.
Yeah.
So how does this? So this is, I assume, with these relationships, they have different dynamics about it, right? Because on the show, she's kind of teasing about, oh, when's he gonna die? And I another husband. I guess he hasn't, pal. So what's your experience with these relationships?
Well, I mean, sometimes they're genuine and people just really love each other, but sometimes it might be that case where you're waiting for them to die and you will inherit everything. And that does happen a lot. But I think, it's good that she can turn this into an empowering experience and a positive experience and a positive, women's message. Like, if you're not happy, do your own thing and move on, So if she's divorcing him, I would assume that it wasn't one of those wait for him to die, but you never know. I have one. So Johnny Depp, he just divorced from Amber Heard, and he had a lawsuit in London or England somewhere about her slander of him with all the domestic violence stuff. And apparently he lost that lawsuit for slander. So now he's appealing and all this stuff. But it's really tanking his career because it's kind of like, even if he wins or even if it's a lie, the more it's like repeated and repeated, the worse it looks for him. And I've always been a giant Johnny Depp fan. So I hope that it turns out okay. But he's spending a lot of his life fighting against this when maybe it could be better if he would just let it go and move on. And I mean, it's such a short marriage. Like, they just need to be done.
Yeah, I think he got dropped from one of the movie franchises. I'm hesitant to, I can't remember, but I think
Beasts. Yeah, it was Fantastic Beasts.
And then he's probably gonna get killed off as Jack Sparrow, I assume. He's a good one.
That's gonna be so heartbreaking for me.
Okay, so let's move on to the next part of the show, which we go over posts of people online. Like this next post is about getting started in divorce. So let's get to it. If you're terrified of the unknown future, is something that's been helping me. My wife has asked for a divorce. We're in marriage counseling, but only have 2 sessions left that she committed to. And each time we go, it's more clear. And that divorce is what she wants. One of the big issues for me that I had a hard time imagining my life after divorce, the unknown and change are both very hard for me. The fear of being alone is overwhelming for me too, as I'm not close to my family and would literally be starting all over at 36. So usually once a week I would drive over to a park nearby that's close to an apartment complex and I've considered moving into. I'd run at the park and then after the run walk through the complex and try to imagine my life there. Before I settled on this complex, I did go to quite a few before and didn't start visiting it regularly until I had mainly decided that that'd be my future home. It has been really helpful to me to be able to visualize my life post-divorce and be familiar with the place I will live. I basically picked it because it's next to the park and I like to run. It's affordable for me and in a neighborhood where I feel safe. Might help some of you who are in my position.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's, really good advice. And I like when people want to post things that, can help other people, because that's how we get through this and how we learn. And, um, sharing these positive ideas, to help other people be able to get through these difficult times, because it is really hard. And your surroundings like that can make a big difference. And you want to feel comfortable and be able to own it yourself and know that you've made the right choices.
Okay, this next post is about postnuptial agreement. Let's see. So as background, my husband has been emotionally unstable for years, used our marriage as a dumping ground for his insecurities and toxic impulses. Finally had a nervous breakdown about 2 months ago after threatening to leave for the better part of last year and recently demanding divorce. He now wants to reconcile. I'm tired of everything and odds are low we can survive this most recent episode. I'm pretty worn out putting all this work into it. And let's see, from a financial standpoint, I've been carrying that part of the marriage. Our house is mine. I bought it before the marriage. I saved a lot for retirement. He doesn't really save. I put money into a shared savings account, emergency fund, home improvement. Our cars are mine. One from before we married and one that I financed and paid off. And that he hasn't contributed. He painted the house. He pays half of the daycare and half utilities. He pays part of the mortgage, but our assets are things that I have created. And by the way, I've always invited him to join me in deciding what those assets should be and help to develop them, but he's refused. And just for context, we've roughly similar money. We've made roughly similar money for the majority of the marriage, and I got a new job this spring that pays better. We live in a community property state, so if we divorce, he's entitled to half of the substantial growth in equity in our house and half of my retirement contributions during the marriage. Let's move in here. He wants to try to stay together, but it is a solid risk from my perspective. At this point, I feel like reconciling is such a long shot, and I have so much more to lose than he does, both in terms of emotional effort and financial assets. So I was trying to think through ways to mitigate that risk, and I came across the idea of the post-nuptial agreement. I'm not trying to screw my husband out of everything, just to be clear. I just want to basically freeze our financial picture at this point. So I decided to put in more emotional effort to see, what we can work out, that I'm not increasing my financial risk too. So like we have a look, so we take a look at our assets right now, decide what would be fair, and then sign an agreement that states that if any attempts we can work on or reconcile don't work out, we are not renegotiating based on a new higher value in the future. How does this work?
Yeah, a lot of people choose to do these post-nup so that it dictates the terms of your divorce if you divorce. It can be helpful because sometimes it will just take the pressure off, like the financial pressure, and you can really work on the marriage and the other issues because you're not worried about staying together for financial reasons or breaking up for financial reasons. So I think that they can be useful in that way. It also makes the divorce easier because if you do ultimately end up divorcing and you can't save the marriage, you have all the financial terms laid out already. So you don't have to even really negotiate those. They're just done.
Okay. All right. Time for our last post of the day. This has to do with young children in divorce. So the post is, how does divorce affect very young children? What is the least worst time to leave? I'm a father of two beautiful children. One of them is 3, and she's in my world. She taught me the true meaning of love. She's always been a daddy's girl. I have a newborn, just 2 months old. To be honest, I haven't been attached to her in the same way I have my first, but I feel we will be much closer once she's a few months older, I can help her out more. I'm contemplating divorce to get out of an emotionally abusive relationship. I don't feel our fights are good for the kids, and I'd rather have a cordial but distant co-parent relationship with my wife. I'm willing to endure this relationship at a bit longer if it means a healthy relationship with my kids. What age would it be best to separate? Would it be better to separate when they're still a baby so they don't miss having both parents co-living together, or would it be better for them to be older and we can recognize and can be recognized and recognize me as their dad?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, that's really a question that therapists would have to answer. So, it's hard to say. But the one thing I can say is all the research shows that it's more damaging to children to be in a contentious, abusive relationship because they soak that in and they notice it, even if you think they're not noticing it, than it is to go through a divorce. So if the parents aren't happy and it's ugly and they're abusive and they're fighting all the time, then probably the sooner the better, because that is not a good environment for children.
Okay, so that's all the time we have for today. Emily's got to go to court now. It's the beginning of the week.
Court today.
Going forward, we're in November here. Do you have any thoughts, advice before we close the show today?
Let's try to get through the rest of 2020 in one piece. And it's been a tough year, but hopefully things are going to get better next year. And, hopefully there's a vaccine that can stop us from having further lockdowns, but be prepared, because if the courts lock down again, you're going to have to work everything out with your spouse. So try to, work together the best as possible, because it's a possibility the courts could close again.
Yeah, I will try to stop shopping. There's like really good deals. I feel my credit card is burning right now. So yeah, I got nieces and nephews now, like I have to shop for. So shop, don't shop.
Well, Black Friday's coming.
Oh no. So yeah, they're starting sales earlier. So
yeah.
So there's no Black Friday deals in divorce. So okay, so we'll see everyone next week on the Life After D podcast. Thank you for joining us. Thanks so much.